behind the scenes look at police training that could save lives.
Sometimes we're alive because someone else let us live.
Basic traffic stop, basic just welfare check, trespassing, check the well-being. Then it spontaneously turns into a high-level event. That's where we see all the mistakes because we're not ready. 99.9% of them have never been in those situations, could never fathom being in that situation, and they're just Monday morning quarterbacking.
Let's just start it off with this question. What made you decide to become a cop, and would you still make that same decision today?
So I decided to become a cop because I originally was going to go to school to be an attorney.
You don't say. You'd be a good attorney.
And then after about 1 or 2 semesters of school, I decided I didn't want to do that much schooling because I didn't like school.
Also makes sense.
I just was there to play soccer collegiately and have fun. So at that point, I decided that, I was still working on that path and I didn't want to become an attorney. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do at the time after I realized I didn't want to be at school that long. So I got a degree in social sciences, which at the time I had no idea what I was going to use it for. But social sciences is a lot of psychology, sociology, those types of things, which actually I think now looking back at it, hindsight, helped me out a ton in me developing curriculum for police officers and like adult learning and processing what suspects are doing.
Sure.
All those types of physical movements that people are doing, how people are acting, it all comes back to some sort of psychology, physiologically, those types of things.
So when you wanted to be an attorney, what kind of attorney would you have wanted to be?
Criminal.
Criminal? On which side?
Well, you make the most money on the other side.
That's right. I know. That's why I asked. No, that's a really cool thing because I actually wanted to go to law school as well. I decided, well, it sounds really boring, and I hated school too. I was like you. I only enjoyed things I wanted to learn, and then the courses I didn't want to learn, I was like, I'm not even going to show up. And I just, wasn't a good fit for me.
I'm good in math. I'm not great in, like, say, literature, like English.
Yeah. Well, you
reading,
do make up your own words.
Writing, I do. And listen, Wikipedia and Webster add 350 to 400 words to the dictionary every year. My buddy Scott, he has like a notebook full for like over a decade and a half of J-isms. He's like, these are words that you constantly use that aren't actually words, but people don't realize you're saying them because you just go on about your sentence like they exist.
Would you make the same decision today to be a cop?
Yes.
Why?
I loved being a cop.
Yeah, me too.
I was super passionate about it. It's not the same thing every day. What people see in the movies isn't necessarily what police work is.
It's more paperwork.
It's, I would say it's like 95% boredom, 5% like get up and go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. It's the best job I ever had, for sure. And obviously we wouldn't be where we're at today without it.
Sure.
So it definitely played a pivotal role in my life, and I know it did yours as well. I mean, you put in, here we go. I gotta pull out the scroll here of Jay's accolades, but we'll make it brief here. 22 years of service as a street cop, lead defensive tactics instructor, SWAT team leader, Jamestown Police SWAT team, director of training from 2015 to 2023, 14 years of SWAT experience, DCGS certified SWAT operator, defensive tactics, director of defensive tactics for the NYTOA, instructor at NYTOA, instructor at TAC Ops, head defensive tactics instructor, Jamestown Police Department lead defensive tactics instructor. And of course, there's a lot more there. Reality-based training, range instructor, taser, and third degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, former professional and amateur MMA fighter, obviously, and owner and director of EFC. So, and that was just the 22nd version of a 22-year career, if not longer too. Again, like you went to college, you played high-level sports. Like that, I think that also could kind of go off a tangent here. I think plays a role, at least to how I know Jay Wadsworth, because it takes a lot of discipline to play a collegiate level sport, especially at a D1 level. I never played collegiate level, but I have a lot of friends that did, and it was their life. Like they were so disciplined. They were up at 5 o'clock, working out, had to go to class, and then back to practice at 3 p.m. and do that for 4 years. You know, in college now, did you go right from graduating to law enforcement?
Yeah, I went right from college to the academy.
Now in New York, do you have to be hired on before you go to the academy, or can you just go and then get hired on?
Depends
later?
on which academy you go to. There's regional ones that you can do both at. There's where you're sponsored to go. There's ones where you get hired by the department on and you go. Just depends on which academy you choose to go to. You know, sports, I think playing collegiate sports is easy if you're passionate about it.
Sure.
Because it does take so much work. And if you're not passionate about doing it, you're not going to put in the work realistically. That's where like discipline over motivation comes in too.
Sure.
Again, if you're looking for motivation to go do something, motivation is going to fail at times. It's not going to be around on certain days. It's not going to be around at 5 a.m. It's not going to be around at 9 p.m. when you got to go to open kick around.
Sure.
Discipline's going to be there all the time.
Yeah.
If you can force yourself to be disciplined, you can be there. Like it kind of translates over to like EFC, right? Like why is EFC by far, it's not even close, the fastest growing combatives company and successful like DT combatives altogether, like training in the country, maybe even internationally now, is because of the time you put in off camera, off the mat, the time you put in what people don't see. And that comes from discipline, not motivation.
Yeah. I was actually, as JT and I were leaving last night and Nick was still here, we walked into the parking lot and our cars were the only ones there. Like this place was packed in the middle of the day. And we were also still here. So it was just, I told JT, I was like, that's the difference. Empty parking lot. We're the only 2 cars here out of 400 spots, 500 spots. So yeah, I think that work that goes in on the front end, on the back end, is incredible. And to kind of piggyback off of that, getting into law enforcement, your first year, what was that like? Like, what was that experience for you on FTO? Now, you didn't start in Texas. You started in New York, correct?
Yeah, in New York.
And then went to Texas. Yeah.
I only went to Texas for
a short period of time.
Yeah, a year and a half to 2 years, like 6-7 years into my career.
Sure. So that first year, what was that like for young Jay Wadsworth?
Learning experience, like a lot of emotions. You're excited. You want to do this. You want to like, especially for me, and this may be different for each person because cops come in obviously all different versions.
Sure.
And my version is if I'm going to do anything, I want to be the best at it.
Yeah, I see.
You're not always going to be the best person at what you're doing, but you should be striving to be the best person at what you're doing. Always. And so I'm just competitive, right? So I want to always be the best at what I'm doing. But prior to the academy, I never shot a handgun. I never cleared rooms. I wasn't in the military. I didn't understand the whole environment and tactics world of policing like I do now looking back at it. Like you're thrown to the wolves day one and you're probably not prepared.
Right.
Realistically, you survive by constantly trying to be the best and doing things. If you're not doing that, you're working for luck. You're hoping luck stays with you for 20 years of your career, which there's a lot of cops out there that luck gets them through 20 years. That's what happens is luck gets them through 20 years. But I look at it this way. And I was thinking about this yesterday a lot because my dope gun violence team did a warrant in the North County, in a city in the North County yesterday. And the city of Dunkirk's SRT team, they're not really a SWAT team. They're more of an SRT team. So they don't handle like all levels of operations, but they handle some of their warrants. Did the warrant and one of the operators got shot and took it in the vest. Obviously early conversations. I don't know a ton of the details of it, but sounds like at the bottom of a stairwell. Which is interesting because, there's a study that over 10-year period of where SWAT operators get shot and killed inside CQB or whatever. The highest by far is at the front door of the breach point through doors. Right. The next highest, which is only 6, is through a closed bedroom door. And then everything else is single digits or less. Sure. And so this is like upper lower stairwell like type area. And, just thinking like, man, those guys are there. I don't miss being a cop. I don't miss going to work every day. I miss the guys. I miss like my close knit group of dudes that I trained with. I still talk to them. We're still pretty close, but it's days like that where like, they're on those calls that like you wish you were boots on the ground with them.
Yeah.
That's the only time I miss it.
Yeah. A little bit of guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. But like, I didn't know any of that stuff when I first went on the SWAT team. I had no idea how to do any of this stuff. I went on SWAT team first time in 2008, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right. I had to learn. And then I took that beyond what I was learning from my team.
Sure.
And was seeking out training and seeking out multiple different trainings and going to train every chance I got. And sometimes that was every weekend and nights after work. And you just got to put the work in. But if you don't have the passion to do it, it's not going to be there. If you don't have the passion to do something, discipline is going to be minimal, and then you're just going to be average or less.
So one thing that we talked about when I was talking to JT was about life experience. You were how old when you got into law enforcement?
22, I think.
How much life experience do you have at 22?
I don't think you have a lot of life. At least I didn't have a lot of life experience. Like my parents weren't rich, so I didn't grow up like in a gated community or anything by any means. Same. But like my parents, did well by us of getting a house and redoing it and living in a nice area. And, so my life experience as far as like what you deal with in police was very low. But I think what helped me was obviously I have no problem talking to people. I like to hang out with different groups of people and whatnot. My circles are small, but like I'll hang out with a lot of people, and you just get to learn how to talk to people. And I think that's one of the number one things in police work that people can't do is they can't talk to people. And so that really helped me, I think, initially in the beginning. Yeah,
I would 100% agree. And I would even say now, and of course you've seen it training newer officers, in the past, let's just say 5 years, levels of communication obviously have kind of dwindled because of text messaging and technology and things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, again, we're getting guys in their early 20s coming into a profession, trying to level with people that are probably going to be significantly older than them. And then it's really hard to level when you don't have that life experience because like you can't pretend like, hey man, I understand. It's like, do you understand? Because you look like you just learned to drive. You know what I mean? And people will pick up on that,
Yeah. And, like obviously being athletic, playing collegiate sports, like those things help you immensely.
Sure.
Discipline, fitness is a foundation of everything. Problem solving, right? Like I wasn't training jiu-jitsu in the beginning, but like as a collegiate athlete, you have to be fast. You have to be able to think quick. You have to be able to solve problems, whether it's on the soccer field, the football field, or wrestling mat, wherever the case may be. So that helped. I think another big thing that helped too was that was eye-opening to me is I played in a flag football league, and this is going to seem weird, but the rule set for this flag football league was like a full contact flag football. So like there's no tackling. You had to pull flags, but there was full blocking. So the line blocked and you could block downfield. So, I mean, like there's no pads you're hitting. It's kind of like a mix between like rugby and flag football, basically. And a lot of the guys I would come across at work and whatnot played in this league as well. But it was Sunday mornings and it was about playing football. And like, I didn't look at them like, hey, these are guys I deal with during the week. And they didn't look at me like I was a cop. Like we went out and we competed against each other. Yeah. We competed hard against each other, but there was that level of respect. And, there were numerous times in my career where like those guys like helped me out, like in the environment of policing, like where I was at, and those guys helped me out. Like, and it was like, hey, just because we grew up in different cultures and we have different pathways in life doesn't mean we're still not human beings and understanding how to communicate and work together, or at least like get along together. Yeah. I think that community relationship's huge. I ended up working in the place that I lived. And I had a situation where I was backing up county on a traffic stop. The deputy had pulled it over in an area where crowds like to develop. And so he obviously called for backup. He's searching the car. Probably could have done
probably should have waited for the car to drive to another area that may have been a little more optimal for the actual stop itself. And a crowd started to form. I showed up and was able to find someone who I graduated high school with, who lived in that area. And she's like, Adam. I gave her a hug and we started talking, and it kind of just lowered tension simply because I had that connection with one of the moms in the neighborhood. Right. And it worked. It ended up working out pretty well. Granted, after that we had a little chat about optimal traffic stop location.
Sure.
But, is there a story that is memorable to you when you first got on that maybe kind of made you realize, oh shit, I have a lot of work to do. I need to start training more. Maybe I'm not as well-rounded as I thought I was. Is there a particular incident that happened to you?
Yeah. I stopped a guy on like the outskirts of town towards a golf course, and where I worked, like backup's very close. Like,
sure.
You know, it's not longer than a couple minutes away, and a knockdown, drag out fight, 30 seconds to,
it's a long time.
2 minutes is a long time.
A long time.
And physically fit, wrestled through like middle school. So,
okay. Yeah. So you knew something.
Yeah, but I mean,
not much.
Yeah.
And
physically fit. But again, and in my head, like, I'm going to win the fight anyways. Like in my head, like, I got this. Like, but it was a big, burly country drunk dude. And,
I'm familiar.
It was a DWI. He didn't want to go to jail, and he started swinging on me. Now, what saved me wasn't my skill set. What saved him was my athleticism and his drunkenness. So his intoxication level, he could barely stand up. So when he was swinging and got his big body going, he fell down early. So then I got behind him, was on top. It was easier to keep him down because he was big, and he didn't know how to fight either, but he was just a big guy. So after that, I looked at myself and I was like, okay, I got to start training. So then I sought out MMA training. There's no black belts in the area where we were at for jiu-jitsu at the time.
Sure.
And I've told that story 100 times, but I started just learning how to fight.
Yeah.
Traveling to seminars, getting together with high-level high school, college wrestlers from the area and training.
Sure.
And, it's all downhill from there.
And sometimes you're alive or we're alive because someone else let us live, right? That's sometimes the reality of it is, just like you said, we weren't good. We were just happened to be lucky. He just happened to be drunk enough to where maybe if would you have still won? Probably more than likely, sure. But it probably would have been a little more difficult, and there may have been some other consequences outside of what happened.
Yeah, bad guys are looking for two things: opportunity and vulnerability. They're usually not going to be as skilled as us. They're not going to be as good or have as much training as us, even on the police side, which is very low level compared to like your military guys. But they're looking for opportunity and vulnerability. We should be better prepared, more in shape, better skilled, more equipment, and better tactics. We should be.
Of course.
We should have that. Now, that might not be as much of an impact as your SF guys in the military with the people they're dealing with.
Sure.
But we should. The event from yesterday where the guys were going in, the operator took a round to the chest plate, and that saved him. Right. So there's luck involved. Like,
sure. Oh yeah.
I don't know what the tactics looked like. I don't know what the calls were. It's too early. It happened yesterday, but like, you took a round, center mass to your plate carrier, and you got checked out of the hospital and released. Luck was with you that day.
12 inches higher. 12 inches higher.
Maybe not even. I don't know where in the
sure.
plate carrier was at. It could be literally a matter of an inch.
Oh, yeah.
Realistically, right?
Yeah.
So, again, we want to be lucky, but we can't count on luck. Luck is just extra. Let's be prepared. Let's have hard skills. Let's understand tactics. Let's be in shape.
100%.
And then if we get lucky, then we just thank whoever you believe in or
sure.
whatever.
Yeah. I think recognizing that at a young age is incredibly important. You had your incident. I've had an incident that I've spoken about in the past as well. Now, at what point did it kind of start to feel like your responsibility to help others? Was there a pivotal moment? Because obviously you have a lot of training accolades. Was there a moment in your career that made you feel that you had something to offer others?
2005, 2006 was the beginning of where, like, hey, I'm now training. I understand this hand-to-hand combat stuff at the time more than anybody else around me, which
Sure.
looking back, like, still novice at it, realistically.
Sure, yeah.
But compared to the people that I was dealing with that were, you know, and listen, to their defense, like, nobody knew how bad PPCT was until, like, the UFC came around, right? And we started to get more into it and involved. So then I realized, okay, I got a niche here. I'm passionate about it. I'm athletic. I like the training. I'm going to continue to train. And so the hands-on thing became my niche right away. Obviously physically fit training all the time that was just the discipline from high school,
Sure.
college, whatever. And then the tactics followed after that, like the tactical team type stuff came after. And then it was like, okay, now I'm really good at the hands-on stuff.
Right.
And I'm an average shooter.
Yeah. And now, did you have to push yourself into that position at your agency, or was it, or did you?
Kind of and kind of
Okay.
not. We got lucky. We live in a liberal city. It's in New York, obviously. So, we had a chief that was actually the lieutenant of the SWAT team at one point, and 20-year military guy, solid dude, well-rounded, solid wrestler. And somehow he put in for the chief's job and he got it. And he basically, like, came to me. He's like, hey, we're revamping the whole training, how we do training here. We're going to train. He's like, do it. He's like, come back to me how you want to do this. It's not going to cost me money. And basically gave us free reign to do what we want. There's a handful of guys that different areas, range, DT, whatever. And we all kind of, like, got together. And that's where we were like, hey, we got to start cross training. We got to get DT on the same page as range. And he was, come to me how it's not going to cost me money. You guys can train as much as you want.
And I think that's a great point. I think that it's just the restructuring. It's not that, well, one, what a great leader to have.
Yeah.
That's actually open-minded. And we talk about this all the time. It all starts from the top. You can have, there's a very distinct difference between a good leader and a suboptimal leader.
Yeah, I don't even put people as, like, suboptimal leader. I look at it as your leader or your management, one or the other.
It's true. It's true. I call it suboptimal because I feel like, are you benefiting the people below you, or are you hindering their ability to grow? Because if, again, as a leader, your job is to lead, is to push them to be the best version of themselves. But yes, there's a very distinct difference between that. And I feel like, cause you retired as a sergeant, correct?
Nope, detective.
So that's, in your ranking, would that be below sergeant, or is it the same?
I would say it's below, but different routes.
Okay. And I think that's incredibly important to say, because it goes to show you, on top of what you're doing as, like, your actual law enforcement job, because you were in plainclothes, narcotics, right? You were also leading all the DT side, all the instruction side as well. So you were playing multiple roles within your agency. And it's not like you were like a part-time narcotics guy or street crimes guy. You were a full-time street crimes guy, but also doing, I feel like you were always nonstop training as well.
Yeah, I would say the majority of all that came during some relation of patrol assignment.
Okay.
The narcotics undercover stuff came, like, the very last couple of years of my career.
Okay.
Now, I was extremely proactive in running street level, like, interdiction most of the time. But I did most of that as some sort of assignment in some sort of patrol related function.
Awesome.
And you can become a leader even at a patrol level function. And
100%.
I would say even more so in patrol versus even SWAT. I did 14 years, multiple different levels of operator versus assistant team leader, TL, those types of things. Undercover, I learned way more of how the EFC curriculum is built from that patrol level function than anything else. And that's because you're out there, like, literally chasing guys every day. You're fighting with guys every day versus like, hey, in a team setting, we're having briefs and it's planned and we have a lot more resources, you know, undercover drugs. Sure. You'll get into those fights here and there, but a lot of that's more investigation and those types of things. Like those patrol level functions, whether it's proactive patrol or just regular patrol, is those things where like you don't have all those resources and things are happening spontaneously. That's what cops don't understand right now. Like if you and I are responding to a home invasion, we are ready when we get there. Even if we're the LCD in our departments, you and I are the two LCDs in the department and we respond to a home invasion, we're responding at the height of what our response should be. Sure. Like basic traffic stop, basic just welfare check, trespassing, check the well-being. Then it spontaneously turns into a high-level event. That's where we see all the mistakes because we're not ready.
Right.
Okay, we're at a low-level response, and then we have to switch on right away.
Yeah,
and that's why level 2 performing under pressure is so key.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree. And there's countless YouTube videos of exactly what you just said, responding to what you would consider a low-level call. Complacency maybe kind of sets in a little bit. Or two, I think just like personal well-being. Are you tired that day? Are you sore that day from training too much or not training at all? Maybe you're just fatigued because you work night shift for the past 12 years of your life. You know what I mean? Like those things just kind of weigh on you. So, you know, those are super good points. You know, you kind of going towards the end of your career. You know, obviously you were in a street crimes unit. I remember when you were in Charleston, all the cell phones that were on my console vibrating at different times. You basically being on two phones at one time. I got to see it. I got to have my own live PD with Jay right before he left law enforcement. Do you think the public knows how much effort it takes to be a proactive cop at the level you were doing it at you know, towards the end of your career?
No, especially in that undercover drug gun violence unit, like you have to live the job to be good at it. You could go show up for 40 hours a week, maybe get the 10, 15 hours overtime if the details are spawning up, those type of things. But like if you're working CIs, you're working investigations, sure, that you have people calling your phone, like you're on CI time. You're not on Jay's time. You're not on department time. You're on CI time. And you know what? Like I could not answer that phone call.
Yeah.
And then nothing gets solved, or you don't hit that big score, or you don't get that lead. But I could answer that phone call at 9:00 at night and it could lead to something. And maybe I'm out of town.
Sure.
I answer that call out of town. I'm not getting paid overtime for that. I'm working around the clock basically and still getting paid that 40-hour job. So like, again, it comes down to discipline and motivation. Kind of like you got to weigh that, but sure, more passion. For me, it's passion. Are you passionate about what you're doing? If you're passionate about what the mission is that you're doing, you're going to put maximum effort into that. If you're not putting maximum effort into it, maybe find a different position.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see how what you just said could potentially affect people long-term? Like,
sure.
Because it's, again, you have to live that lifestyle. And people are like, oh, some people guys say, hey, this is just a job, which it is true. It is just a job. Like you are a number on a piece of paper somewhere in the system.
When you leave, you're replaced by somebody else.
Immediately. It's like a fine old machine. Like it's like a fine moving machine. Like once that part breaks, they put another one in. Right. Yep. I was replaced as a training sergeant before I even left. Before I officially left, they already had someone in my place.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course. That's how that works.
That's how it works.
At first it was a little bit like, shit, all right. Like I know my worth, you know what I mean? And then you kind of realize it. Did that life impact you? Like you have 4 kids, you're a father of 4, you're a husband. Did that impact your life in any way, feel like you have to be on call basically 24/7?
I don't think it impacted me. I knew what I was in for. I
Sure.
kind of knew what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been in SWAT for 12 years prior to that.
Sure.
And I tried to do both SWAT and that, and there's
tough.
Too much crossover, right? So like I had to slowly step away from that. But we also knew like Rob was a team commander. I was one of the team leaders. Like Rob's leaving a couple months after Jay. We need to set this team up. We got this team to be superior team. We got this team to have all this training time and we're hitting a ton of details and like we're a top team. We don't want that to fail when we leave because we're just going to be replaced. We know they're just going to replace us.
Sure.
But we wanted us to be replaced by guys that we knew were going to continue to make it even better than what it was.
Sure.
And they just had that next fold there. The two guys that took our place, one's a chief and one's a deputy chief now.
Sure.
So those guys did the same thing. And now the guys that took their place are going to make that team even better than what those guys made it. And so you have to set those guys up knowing that that's just life. That's the career. And so, yes, being on call all the time, like even more so than a SWAT, like being in undercover and in narcs and gun violence units, you're getting calls all the time. Why? What hours do these people work? 24 hours. They're selling dope and drugs 24 hours a day.
Right.
So like you cannot answer the call, but depends on what you want to get out of what you're working.
Yeah.
Now, will there be people that I saw call and be like, it's not worth answering it? Yeah,
sure.
Of course I did. But you knew like this person called, like I got to answer the phone. No matter what I'm doing, I'm answering the phone. Sure. I'm stepping out and answering the phone. You also in police work have to find life outside of police work. So when you're in the career, if you don't have a life outside of the career, when you leave, you're going to be in for a rude awakening because the career doesn't wait for you. It just leaves you.
Right.
You're done. You go on. Now, I'm lucky because, again, we're running a training company. I get to be around cops every week. I'm doing volunteer status at Cape Coral. I'm working with the Fort Myers guys. I'm helping the Lee County guys. So I'm around cops all the time. But the average patrolman, the average cop at whatever level you want, when you retire, you leave.
Sure.
Your friendships dwindle. I still have a lot of really close, good friends, but we don't talk every day. But when we're together, it's like old times again.
Sure.
But you have to have life outside of this job, during the job. Not wait till after. You can't wait till after.
100%.
And these guys that live the job with no life outside the job it's just not healthy, mentally healthy for them. And you see, and a lot of those guys unfortunately pass away fairly early after leaving.
Sure.
Because that's all they had. And then they leave and then your mentality gets weaker. So for me, I had really tight groups of friends in small circles inside work. I had a lot of small circles outside of work. Yeah. And I think for me, that really helped me stay fresh and be like excited to go to work and not like, even though I worked a lot, I worked as much as anybody that I know. And I know a lot of guys that work just as much as I do. So it can be done and you can live a job and you can live an outside of the job life as well.
Yeah. And now did your kids understand this as well? Did they understand like what dad did for work and the risk associated with that at all or no? I mean, now that your kids are older, relatively older and can probably comprehend.
Yeah, they did. I think like maybe not in the beginning when they were young,
sure,
but like I talked to them more than probably their mom was excited about it.
Sure.
But I wanted them to understand. I wanted them to know, like, if dad goes, dad might not come home, but dad's going to be prepared and I need to go train and stuff so that I can come home to you every day. Yeah. They need to hear that. They need to know that, hey, you're doing everything you can to get back to us because we're a priority of yours. But just like anything else, like you can have as many kids as you want. You can have as many wives as you want. But the only person that can make you happy is yourself. You have to make yourself happy, and then everybody around you can help your happiness.
Of course.
If you're not happy, you're not going to find the woman, you're not going to find a kid that's going to make you happy for who you want to be. Right. You have to do that yourself.
You need to be selfish before you can be selfless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I 100% agree. And I'm really glad you said that because that's a driving force. That was a driving force for me to train. I had my oldest when I was still in, and it definitely made me. It's a different push. It's like a different door in your brain opens, and you're like, okay, I have other responsibility outside of myself that need me. So I need to be in the best shape of my life. I need to be as prepared as I can be. So I think it's a good driver for some, but just like you said, you have to do it for yourself. You have to be willing to take that discipline in the next step. And I think, as you left law enforcement, we met while you were still active, and you were kind of, I think it was 2 years. You had about 2 years left, or like a year left, maybe?
A couple of years, I think. It was right after COVID. So,
right.
I mean, I retired in April of 23. So 2-3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can say this, I remember the day that you officially retired, that you were basically working until the day that you literally retired. Like you were still talking to CIs and still talking to your guys. You weren't one of those guys that was retired on duty. You literally worked until your last day.
I did a warrant the Friday before I retired.
Right. I remember you calling me and I was like, please, Lord, please keep Jay safe. Well, again, that's just a testament to your character as well. And I think people that know you or don't even know you, but maybe just kind of know you through social media, see the amount of effort that you put in. I know that we've obviously grown to where we can try to get some of your time back so we can do things like this. And I really enjoy when you do come to Charleston because I get to see you as much as possible. Did you think that EFC 1 was going to be as successful as it is now? And did you believe that it was going to take as much work as it has?
I knew it would take this much work. Anything
of value takes work.
Of value takes work.
Sure. Yeah.
Anything that's good take work. There's no cheat codes.
Agreed.
I mean, with AI, there are cheat codes, but
you still got to work it though.
You still got to work just depending on what you're doing.
Sure.
In one, like, I think my buddy Rob said this or my buddy Scott said this, or like, he's just too proud to fail. Like, no matter what he does, he's just going to do it to full capacity.
Sure.
Right. Whether that's being a father, whether that's being a co-owner of a company, whether that's being a team leader on SWAT, whether that's being a basic patrolman that is leading the guys around them because, you're the most senior guy on the shift at the time and you have a bunch of young people. Like,
sure.
Not being like that old salty guy, like, hey, we need to, let's go build those people up around you. And I think like, I was fortunate, one in my career, law enforcement related. I made some really good friends that were just as good as me, better than me in some ways. And we just held each other accountable and we pushed each other. Right. So everybody brought something to the table. You were never the best guy in the room and everything. But those guys held you accountable to be the best in everything. And we were just all so proud. And like, there's so much competition amongst us, but it was good competition. It was like, hey, let's be the best. And you knew you weren't going to be better than this guy in that category or this guy in that category, but you were going to push it. You're going to push that guy. So he couldn't get complacent 100%. At that level he was at. And so I was just lucky to be around those guys a lot of my career. A lot of those guys were guys that we took under our wings as well. They were younger than us, some of them. Some of them were older than us, but a lot of them were younger than us. And we took them right when they came out of the academy, field training, whatever. And we just started bringing them on our wing and we pushed them and then they in return pushed us.
Sure.
And so, it's not one person makes a company or one person makes a PD or one person makes a squad. It's a team effort in everything that you do.
Yeah. 100%. I think, some people see the surface level of EFC, but they don't know there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
We have someone on the other side of this camera right now that works here full time, Nick. We have a whole back end. All of our wives work for the company, to some part-time, some full-time capacities. And then we have a whole team outside of that. So it's definitely who you surround yourself with. And I think, as a testament to what we do, I think we do a pretty good job of finding good people. Our instructor cadre, for example, is and I talked about this the other day, by far the amount of knowledge, experience, and overall capability of our cadre. When I have a question, I go to guys within our own cadre because we're so well versed in the amount of experience, units, disciplines, martial arts that exist that I think that's definitely one of the biggest pros of EFC is the variety of instructors that we bring and the quality of instructors that we bring. And obviously you're a testament to that because you've known some of these guys for decades.
Yeah. So some of these guys, the Rochester guys, for instance,
Yeah.
all SWAT guys. Some of them have worked them away all the way up to being commanders, but they're all black belts now. I watched them all get their purple belts. I watched them physically all get their brown belts, and I watched all but one of them get their black belts. Ryan just got his black belt a couple weekends ago.
Congrats, Ryan.
And I missed it. But, you know,
Don't forget
I've been
him.
training with those guys for over a decade.
Sure.
And, you know, they all bring something different to the table as well.
I love that.
Now expanding off that cadre now into what we have with our four full-time guys and approximately 30 to 35 adjuncts is how do we keep training relevant? How do we keep ourselves relevant? And that is just surrounding yourself with people that are really good in multiple different places, right? So like we're a combatives company. So I need guys that are really good at martial arts, black belts, wrestling, collegiate level wrestlers, but we need guys that know how to shoot. We need guys that have to have tactical experience. We have to have guys that are really good at, say, delivering the tactic side, guys that are really good at delivering the hands-on hard skills. Can you understand the why of what we're teaching? Guys that are retired, that have the experience, guys that are 10 years on that are keeping us relevant.
Sure.
So you got to mix that all together. And they're all handpicked, right? They're all handpicked. And they also have to have that right vibe. Like they have to want to make us better. They have to be a good instructor. They have to have hard skills. They have to have police officer experience. But even more so than that, like I want them to be able to build relationships with people. I don't want these guys that like come in, teach a week, and then leave and never have an experience with anyone in their class again. You know, because the goal is to get these people training continuously and growing as well. And you don't do that in a 40-hour class. You do that by delivering a product, giving them a back end of videos to keep training on, but then be there to mentor them, be their friends, work with them to get better, hold them accountable as well, and they hold you accountable on the same aspect of that.
Yeah, and I think we do a good job of collecting data and building those relationships, not only with our own instructors, but with the agencies as well.
Yes.
And that's I think is so beneficial, is because that not only do we just are with them for 40 hours or 40 plus hours sometimes, we care about the entire agency. How are you going to take this back? How are you going to deliver that? We help them problem solve on the fly. Mm-hmm. And again, like we're even trying to expand that with the agency program now. That's a really low barrier to entry to get everybody in your agency involved in the EFC curriculum. What is one of the best ways that someone who maybe comes to an EFC course can start to bridge that gap within their agency if they're having issues with, oh, I'm just a DT guy, I'm just a gun guy? What do you think is the best way, or what is one way for someone to help kind of bridge that gap that you've seen work?
One unit at a time. If you're a small agency, it's easier.
Sure.
If you're a mid-sized agency, say like you're small, when I say small, let's say like 15 under. Mid-size, let's say like 51 to 250. Those are both fairly easy to change. Anything over that 250 is going to be a little bit more difficult dynamically, but it still can be done. Because realistically, all you're doing is taking one unit at a time versus one district at a time. You get a handful of guys. Say you're a DT guy, but you're a SWAT guy. Okay, go back and teach it to your SWAT guys. SWAT guys are loving it. They're crushing it. Go back and teach the street crimes unit. The guys that are maybe going out there and kicking the bee's nest every day, being proactive on the street.
Sure.
Go teach them first. Get them under your wing. Why? They already had the attitude to want to do it. What can we give it to them? Now that becomes contagious. Okay. So, hey, maybe that street crimes guy or those two go-getters, maybe they're just patrol guys that are go-getters. Maybe those two go-getters are not jiu-jitsu or wrestlers, but they learned how to do the principles, the concepts of control tactics, winning the inside positions, takedowns, team tactics. The other guys are going to start seeing that. Hey, why is it working for them? They're not mat monkeys. They're not the mat monkeys that are on the mat every day, but they're being efficient. Why? Because they have a plan, they're training it, and they know the communication. Those three things are huge.
Yeah.
So now you affected one unit, or maybe you affected one squad, maybe one shift. We have an adjunct who's a brown belt lieutenant Arlington Police Department, Virginia. At the time, he had no in-service training yet for his department. Like, he went to EFC in Maryland, and he came back and he said, I'm going to do microdosing of EFC, putting our videos up at lineup once a week. Perfect. Once a week, having him would come out and be like, hey, we're just doing the 2-on-1, understanding one's high, one's low. By microdosing once a week, 10, 15 minutes at lineup, once, twice a week, his district, which is a night shift district, was crushing it to where the other district, like sergeants and or lieutenants, were asking him, hey, what are you guys doing? It's contagious, right? If you say, hey, you got to go train jiu-jitsu, you're going to turn a lot of people off. They don't want to train jiu-jitsu. We know jiu-jitsu brings hard skills, but it also turns off the majority of police officers. Of course. Same with shooting. So how do we trick these guys into doing it? Microdose them with hard skills and what exactly they're going to be doing. That's how we change things. That's why people like training with us. We're not shoving jiu-jitsu down their throat. Right. We want them to train jiu-jitsu. And that's where we're going to, of course, try to funnel them eventually. We want them to shoot a lot. Okay. But the microdosing of what we do in the combatives program is just as important as anything else. That's going to build your hard skills in exactly what you're doing at the time. And so I think that's where you start. Okay. If you have nothing, affect one unit, one squad, one shift. Why? Because good things become contagious.
Yeah, 100%. And just like, and one of the good things about it is internally it becomes contagious. Obviously, social media, it's relatively boring. Like a good use of force, sure, for the most part, is relatively boring, uneventful. So I think the microdosing is a huge takeaway there. If you care about being capable physically, mentally, then this is for you. A lot of people don't actually need more motivation. They need structure. That's why we built Effective Fitness Training. It's a structured strength conditioning program, not random workouts, not trend-based programming, not chasing aesthetics. It's progressive training built around strength, durability, conditioning, and longevity. Every phase has intent. Every lift has a purpose. We focus on building real-world capacity, the kind that carries over into your job, your life, into the stuff that actually matters. You get clear programming with built-in progression and conditioning that supports strength instead of interfering with it. Mobility so that you stay durable, recovery guidance, and coaching so you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's simple, it's structured, and it works if you work. If you want one program that covers everything, strength, speed, endurance, bodybuilding, mobility, recovery, nutrition guidance, and coaching, go to effective.fitness/stay ready. We'll take care of the programming, you show up and train. Now, as we kind of pivot from how to make people train more, better ways to integrate it into the agency, what would you say the public perception of, let's just say, a grappling-based curriculum does to society? Like we're starting to see more content on the news. We're starting to see more YouTube videos. Obviously there's other training companies out there. Some are better than others. Some are putting out really good information. Some are kind of dabbling in it and it's kind of getting there, but the popularity is spreading. What would you say is the one or two things that the general public is maybe understands about it or doesn't understand about it?
First off, I think we're our own worst enemy as a profession.
Agreed.
One, we don't train good content continuously. That's the broken police training model. Two, because now the way society operates, and they want us to be in a glass house, okay, we've decided that every time we shoot somebody, we're going to release a body cam right away. Every time we have an overuse of force, we're going to release a body cam right away. So we're basically showing society that we're shooting people or we're overusing force. In reality, that's like less than 0.005%.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Of what we actually do.
Sure.
The overwhelming majority of the time, what we do is we cuff cooperative subjects. More so than we ever fight with someone during arrest. When we arrest people in your whole career, if you look at how many people you arrested more cooperative people than you ever fought with.
100%. Okay? Yeah.
The next is just actively resisting, and then actively combative, and then obviously deadly physical force. Why aren't we, as a police profession, putting all our stuff out there? Why do you and I have to do a FOIA to get a good body cam video.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we have like Dave from Grand Rapids, he's giving us all their good body cam video. Why are we not doing that as every agency? Hey, you want us to live in a glass house. You want us to be transparent. Okay, let's show them transparency at full, not just transparency on what they want to see. The problem is we're teaching society the wrong numbers.
Right.
Okay. Look at Boulder PD. Boulder's been teaching EFC since we came out. They came in one of the first classes. They're crushing it over there at the city of Boulder. They're like the Grand Rapids of Colorado, right? And they just posted on their social media page 2 officers going to a trespassing or disturbance call in a parking ramp of a transient. Well, the guy blades away, backs up, and the officer's super close, and he goes hands-on, goes to a trapped arm body lock. The guy's trying to get a knife out.
Right.
They take him down, they teamwork, they pin, they win inside positions, they disarm him with the knife, and they cuff him. That's good tactics. They posted that. Hey, look at our officers training, came in and probably saved a life here.
Sure.
Yes, because they're training. Now, does it look boring? Yes, because it's not a shit show. Unfortunately, the internet wants to see excitement.
Shit show, right, yeah.
So you see now the police post OISs to be transparent and any overuse of the force to be transparent, which is very little anyways. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
The internet itself, cell phone video, surveillance video that people get that they post on there just shows the untrained people trying to take someone into custody. Now, it's just inefficient. It looks excessive, but it's not. It's just inefficient. Okay. So those are the 3 categories we're teaching society to see. When police agencies need to change their social media policies, let's post all the good solo and team tactics that we're doing. Let's post all the cooperative arrests. Let's post. Why? Because that's what we do. We're not showing society what actually is occurring. They're seeing what's occurring of the less than 1%.
Man, you know how boring social media would be if they posted all uses of force? Because if you think about it, again, 70 million interactions, give or take a year, between law enforcement and the general public.
Yeah.
70 million. How many of those do people remember? Maybe 4 in a year, 5 in a year, if that, right? Yeah, you're right. It is pretty frustrating to be able to not get good body cam footage. Again, maybe they'll show us as a consulting side of things, like, man, this is really good. You guys should utilize this as even recruitment videos. Like you want to get people to sign up and become cops. Show them that you're training them at a high level. Show them that they can handle these type of situations. Like what a better recruitment video than that. You don't need to wrap a car in a special color to say, hey, look, come and join our agency because we accept everybody or whatever. Show them what the job's about. And there's actually some agencies that I would say are doing a really good job on social media when they're actually starting to do that. Grand Rapids is one of them. And I know here locally, they're trying to do that as well. I know North Charleston has been a lot more open with their body cam footage. Because I think sometimes they also release the bad uses of force in the OIS is because that cell phone footage does get leaked and it maybe doesn't show the best angle potentially of the situation. They want to try to save face and be like, no, this is what actually happened. But they're not willing to show the other 600 uses of force that year that were.
What's the difference?
Exactly. There is no difference. The difference is because, I don't know. That's actually a good question.
The difference is what the public sees us doing over and over.
Right. And do you think that would, in their brain, it doesn't make sense in my brain, would I don't know. I feel like it would just calm them down. I feel like it would
calm them down, right?
Yeah.
We've trained society now to see OISs,
Yeah.
us being a cluster with people that aren't training well.
Sure.
Okay. Or overuses of force. Instead of being like, oh, look at how they talked to this person. They cuffed him. Look at how this guy fought with them, but they went high-low tactics. They controlled him, got him into custody. No one got injured.
Sure.
Over and over again. It's boring. Yes. But good tactics are boring. I tell people in class every week, be boring. Be so good at your job that arresting people is boring. Arresting people that don't train is not difficult.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like someone posted on my page yesterday. Yeah, until the guy is on drugs and he's got hysterical strength. So I commented back,
Hysterical strength?
Hysterical strength.
I want some hysterical strength. Where do you get that?
And I asked him, I said, could you define hysterical strength? And basically it was like superhuman strength because of drugs. The biggest myth on earth. If Adam was a meth head, okay, and he's not, but if he was, and he resisted arrest, okay, sober, and he resisted arrest, high, he's benching the same amount of weight. You're not going to, I could get you high on meth, put you on a bench press, and you're benching the same amount or less than you are when you're sober and ready to go. Superhuman strength is 100 a myth. What it is pain compliance fails. You don't feel pain and you're out of your mind. Okay. So you continue to fight. The problem is cops just lack control and pressure. They don't know how to do control and pressure.
Sure.
Right. I've fought tons of people that are high and drunk. They're not superhuman strength. Oh, that 130-pound kid that hasn't been hydrated properly for the last year, smokes 20 packs of cigarettes in a month, okay, drinks beer every day, smokes crack every day and meth, okay, hasn't worked out. He's got superhuman strength? No, you just don't know how to fight. You suck at fighting.
So you're saying that's not the optimal supplementation for strength?
No.
Okay.
If it was, then your bodybuilders and the UFC guys would be smoking crack and not hydrating every day. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
Realistically, it's just laughable.
Sure. Yeah.
But the amount of people that'll be like, I'll just see red and solve it. No, you won't.
No.
Seeing red's not going to solve it. Actually, seeing red is going to probably distort your ability to make good decisions.
100%. 100%. Yeah, the seeing red thing is I don't know. That needs to be outdated.
I think it's getting there. You know, I think the more social media comes out, and we are always like, we need more training, we need more training. And people are like, oh, I'm tired of hearing we need more training. Okay, do you know how much cops train?
Not that much.
Hardly at all.
Yeah.
Hardly at all. The average person that wears a badge and gun and goes home. Most of them get out of high school, okay, get out of college. They've never shot a gun. They've never fought anyone. They go to the academy and they get 80 hours of handgun and 40 hours of DT training, and then they get thrown out on the road. How good are they? They're not. They're terrible at it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even if you think about it like this, the average hobbyist jiu-jitsu practitioner, right? Maybe their husband, father, twice a week. He's getting 2 hours a week, let's just say, on the low end. Well, we say 2 hours a week. It's usually about an hour and a half because you got to hang out after and all that kind of stuff. But let's say it's 2 hours of actual mat time a week. Cops don't even get that. No. Not even anywhere close to that. So you're telling me someone who's not a cop is on the mats working to control another human, in this case, forced submission, right? Well, cops are, maybe they get an hour or two. I would say it's changing, and it's going to obviously vary by department to department, but just put it in that perspective. And I always tell guys this, I'm like, hey, when I started jiu-jitsu, I was the only cop in the entire school out of 80 people. And so there's 79 of them are not cops. I'm sure they weren't. I mean, I would like to think they were all good people and didn't have any cop
and
interactions.
most of the time they are, because
right,
they're putting time into doing something.
Correct.
And being disciplined with it.
But
right?
if they were to have an interaction with a cop and then make that decision to potentially either fight a cop or try to not be detained or whatever the case may be, like, and that cop doesn't train, like there are videos. You talk about trained and untrained responses all the time. There are people that are not cops that do train. And I feel like if you're not training for that competent
and that's
person,
growing.
that's growing fast,
yes.
Super fast. I mean, we even talk about this, high school wrestling.
Oh, high school wrestler would dismantle any cop that has no grappling training.
10 out of 10 times.
High school, your average high school wrestler.
Yeah.
Not even like, say, your
state level.
Yeah.
Guys. Yeah.
Your average hobbyist in jiu-jitsu, let's just say, trains 2 hours a week.
Sure.
That's 104 hours of training per year.
That's a good bit of training.
You know how many most cops get hands-on training? 0. Then the next will be 4 hours a year and 8 hours a year. Hey, guess what? We just got 8 hours of training a year for DT. You want me to be happy about that? That's terrible still.
And is it all training, or is 3 hours of that PowerPoint? Right? Like it
depends.
Right. Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's why
we know the proper model. If you want true police reform, we need to make training, not just in DT, but in range. And we just need to make training overall continuously. It needs to be continuously. You have to be training every month, every couple of weeks on something to be good at it. And unfortunately, now with like recruiting numbers being down, they'll use that like, okay, we're short staffed. Okay, so that means we have less people, so it's more dangerous and we're still not training. That's even a worse excuse.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it. Find ways to do it. There's 10-hour shifts. If you run a 10-hour shift, you have an overlap. So once a week on that overlap, have each squad take an hour or two to go train. There's ways to do it without costing your department money.
Oh, 100%.
It's just you got to be creative doing it.
Yeah, and you got to have that drive. Just like you got to have that passion. Like
Correct.
you got to want to do this. And yes, you're getting paid for 8 hours or 12 hours of work or whatever your shift is. You want to create change, you got to go above the standard. Mm-hmm. If your standard shift is 10 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours, whatever it is, you might need to put an extra 2 hours at the end of that to really, if you really want to make a change, you're going to have to go above and beyond. And I think, and we know guys that do that all the time. I know countless guys that give their time.
Because of the circles we run in.
That's also true.
Those are the guys that are doing more.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, it was funny because I was on another podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about Shane from Guild Solutions.
Yeah,
He's like, he categories police officers in 3, like your go-getters, your guys that want to go there. Then your guys that are just there, but they're like the middle guys, and then like your LCDs, whatever. But he's like, the key is do your go-getters steal from the middle or do the LCDs steal from the middle? And that's your department.
True.
The middle group is the biggest.
Right.
But who's doing more of the recruiting? The old salty guys? You're recruiting those guys that do the least amount, or the higher guys? Right? That's why I said earlier, where's it start? Affect one unit, affect one shift, affect one group. Then it'll become contagious. Pull those guys in.
Yeah. I think one of the best things, at least that I like to receive, is the continuous DMs or messages from either guys that have attended a level 1 or level 2 course, or have attended the online training, or have just picked stuff up from our Instagram, and seeing them tell us, hey, I utilized this technique and it worked out flawlessly, or I was in a I was even in an OIS or weapons-based entanglement, or whatever the case may be, whatever the situation was.
They're coming in on a daily now.
Yeah. And it drives me, and I know it drives you to be better. It's like, okay, they were in a situation that was potentially life-saving or life-taking, right?
Sure.
And they have the ability now to message us and tell us about that event.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's what a responsibility. And I think not just us, but the training community in general, what a responsibility we have to be as accurate and effective and relevant as possible when we get countless messages like this, and we read every single one. We respond to every single one. And sometimes we don't post them because they ask us not to. Sometimes we do. But man, what a responsibility. Now, when you get messages like that, what's your initial thought?
I mean, I've had a couple lately that like I get goosebumps on my arms.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they're like, you saved my life today. I didn't save your life.
No.
I just brought attention to it. You put the work in, bro.
100%.
Right? But again, it just shows how long just a regular conversation can go. I had a conversation with a guy tailgating at a Miami Bills game in South Florida this fall. Obviously, Buffalo fans are crazy. They all go to South Florida for the game. There's probably more Buffalo fans than us, but we had a huge group of people because we're from Western New York. We live there now. A bunch of our friends live there. One of the kids, a cop in Kentucky, works like a street crimes unit. He had his partner there with him, and we're hanging out. And he was like he was my buddy's brother's friend. So we were like the seniors, college kids, and then they were like the middle school, like freshman age annoying kids.
Sure.
Growing up. And now he's a cop. But he's like, hey, what's this 45 flare you guys talk about all the time? I was like, it's just human awareness. It's human behavior of what they're doing. positioning of grabbing for a weapon. They're trying to present something. Their elbow makes this distinct flare away from their body. So I talked to him and his partner about it. And we had a couple drinks. We were tailgating.
Sure.
So they had never heard it before. They were watching my videos. I see 2 weeks later, I get a DM. The flare saved our life today. They're literally chasing a kid.
Goosebumps.
They see the flare and they L him off because they see him flare. So they start to separate.
Yeah.
So they diverged and he turns with a gun and shoots right back to where they were at. But they're already gone because they simply were aware of that flare that during a conversation, they hadn't even trained it yet. It was a conversation during a tailgating, right? So it's like just spreading knowledge, getting knowledge out there. And that's why we do this, right? We do it because we're passionate about it. Sure, some people have a gift, but like you were saying, as training providers, whether we're a private company, whether you're at a police agency, like if you're just doing it because you have the instructor certification paper and you don't want to be doing it and you're not like bettering people because of it, move on, go do something else because you're doing your department an injustice. You're doing the people you're training injustice,
100%.
right? We need those instructors to be accountable for putting out good content continuously and then consulting basically on how to keep that moving and how to get better from here. And it's got to be done with some sort of passion and discipline as well. Because if it's not, then it's just out the door.
Sure. I think you kind of hit on a point I kind of want to harp on. Level of communication. Obviously you can be the best black belt. You can have the most knowledge in your brain. Being able to speak that, that it makes it digestible for people who may not have that higher level knowledge or understanding, utilizing words that are also digestible, not using large words or not using fancy, quote unquote, fancy words. Again, I'm not the smartest. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. What is one thing an instructor can do from that standpoint to help or allow others to understand that information better, to be able to become a good instructor? Because obviously time is very limited.
Know how adults learn. Know what group you're dealing with.
Sure.
Are you dealing with a group of people that just graduated with their master's degree? Then talk to them that way. If you're dealing with a group of cops that
are 22 years old
and you're giving them word, like make it simple, retainable, repeatable. It has to be simple.
Sure.
It has to be able to be retained, and then it has to be repeatable. I could have the best curriculum in the world, and if no one can retain it, they're not repeating it. And if they're not repeating it, we're not getting good body cam videos back. We're doing them an injustice, right? We know that it's simple, and the reason is because people are retaining the concepts, principles, and the systematic approach that we take. And then they're utilizing on the street. Why? Because we're getting flooded with body cam videos. Now, a majority of those we can't show, but I show them in training. I have them on my phone. People trust me with them. I'll tell them, hey, send them to me. If your agency doesn't want you to share them, I will put them in a folder where the only people that will see them will be in training courses on a screen where I'm controlling it and they have no access to it. Okay. I'm showing these constantly, and the buy-in these people get from seeing what they just trained now working is, I can't even tell you how beneficial that's been.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, again, like we just had Dave on from Grand Rapids, and he's done a great job of collecting that data.
Yeah.
Right. That's where I think, if you're looking for buy-in, as an instructor, objective viewpoints, are very difficult to argue against. Especially if we're talking about increasing officer safety, the safety of the public, liability, right? And really, if you look from that perspective, what does city council and like upper command staff worry about?
Yeah, money, litigation.
Can we save that, utilize that money to enhance officer skills and ability? The answer is yes.
That
Yes,
would be called being proactive.
Yeah.
In minimizing litigation, you'd be proactive by having good training continuously versus, hey, we'll just go fight this in court, or we lose in litigation, we pay out all this money. Why not win it on the front end? You win it on the front end, yes, you're still spending that money, but now it looks better to society.
100%.
Relationships are better from police to society. Okay? and more lives are probably saved on both ends of the spectrum.
Sounds like it makes sense. If you're in law enforcement, you already know. There's a gap between traditional defensive tactics and what actually happens on the street. And that gap is why we built Effective Fitness Combatives. EFC is a curriculum specifically built for policing. It utilizes the principal concepts and certain techniques from jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and striking, integrated with weapons into the environment of policing. It's structured training designed for real resistance, real stress, and real-world application. In 2025 alone, we worked with over 800 agencies and trained more than 3,500 officers. Our instructor cadre brings nearly 400 years of combined law enforcement experience. Now, these are high-level jiu-jitsu practitioners, wrestlers, mixed martial artists, and some are actually subject matter experts vetted at the local and federal levels. Both Level 1 and Level 2 are instructor-level certification courses, and both are post-approved or post-certified in most states. Level 1 establishes the foundational system and teaching structure, while the Level 2 builds on the foundation and moves into reality-based training, integrating simunitions, UTMs, box drills, and vehicle extractions so that instructors can confidently teach under pressure and complexity. We run courses all over the country. Courses are also available for private security and military personnel. We offer custom courses tailored to agencies' needs. We're also in the process of launching a dedicated SWAT combatives course built specifically for tactical teams. To see upcoming courses, check the 2026 calendar by visiting efcombatives.com.
When Dave called me.
Oh yeah, like when Dave called you about the incident we broke down.
Oh, yeah.
About the initial incident. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our first training class. It was a custom class. They called us and they said, hey, I talked to Dave personally. And he said, as a lieutenant, he was bearing too much weight. He put too much of that. His officer shooting the guy and getting charged on him is the instructor, right?
Oh, we saw that.
Now, as you can appreciate that for him actually like wanting to be held accountable, also the human being is accountable for their own training and that kind of stuff as well. And the people before you. So like he took too much of that to heart, but it forced him to drive and be like, I'm not letting this happen to our guys again. Okay. And so he said, what do you suggest? I watched a video and I said, solo and team tactics, weapon-based entanglements. Come out, we'll do a 2-day private. We'll show you what our one-man and team tactics control system looks like. And then we'll show you what our weapon-based entanglement system looks like. Okay. It's been game-changing for them. Up until the point where they just had another officer-involved shooting. They're chasing a guy on a bike. Yep. Parolee, he's got a gun. Guy's been shot prior. They knew he had a gun or suspected he had a gun. There's some prior information there. And they get in a fight with the guy. They deploy the dog first. K9's fighting him. Now, the guy's a lefty. Okay, so he is a lefty. And he sees a flare come out. One of the officers does, and he's an EFC level 1 and 2 guy. He actually staples the guy's flare with his foot because he's standing at gunpoint. But the guy being lefty kind of arches through, and as he starts to get to his side, the gun starts to come out pointing towards the other officer. And that officer sees it, and then they engage. But that guy had a lot of time to make a decision to let go of the gun and get taken into custody. And he chose to not and still present that gun. Okay. But, these are the things. That was like the first weapon-based entanglement OIS they've had since we've been involved. They've had 6 or 7 other encounters where they were fighting with the guy hands-on already, and the guy was going for a gun, and they ended up taking him into custody without the guy getting to the gun or getting it presented. So they've already saved 7 or 8, most likely OISs besides that. Okay. Now this one was a little bit different because they were both vertical and the suspect was horizontal on the ground. Sure. And there's a K9 deployed, but it doesn't matter if there's K9 deployed, right? That's just an option that they had. You can still get a gun out and shoot somebody there. The suspect, unfortunately, in this situation, his behavior drive the outcome of what happened, right? Yeah. It's a pretty clear use of force if you watch it. Oh yeah. Now, no one wants to have to shoot somebody. Okay, so it's unfortunate, but they also allowed this guy time to make a good decision, and he chose not to, unfortunately. And one of the officers, the K9 in it, actually called me when I was in Nashville a couple of weeks ago and wanted to thank me for the weapon-based entanglements training and level 2 training skills, because he's like, it probably saved me from getting shot. He goes, I probably would have got shot there because I wouldn't have seen the flare. I wouldn't have stapled it, and the guy would have got the gun up and running much faster than, which he didn't, because he stapled it, slowed down the process of him getting the gun out, which gave them, they were ahead in the gunfight per se.
And I think too, testament to the concept and principle base is the foot staple instead of the shin staple.
Yeah.
Right? It achieved the same,
the
same
concept,
goal.
right?
Right.
It's a concept,
of a
of
staple.
what we're doing, not the technique. There's not one technique that works every time. And the reason being, especially in police work, and even I would say for MMA and jiu-jitsu too, but even more so in police work, there's more factors and variables that we have to worry about. So one move doesn't always work.
Sure.
You have to understand like what the principles are of this position. What are the concepts we're looking to derive from here? And then what are the actions that we're taking to be successful?
Right. And again, that's just a testament to the work that Grand Rapids has put in, and what Dave has done with that agency for sure.
Yeah. Grand Rapids, they have their own grappling club now. They're training, I believe hands-on training is quarterly. They're doing weekly trainings where they have like an open mat and they can come in and they drill. If you go in their mat room, there's actually like pictures of every position of one-man control. Knee on top, low mount. There's positions of them, pictures around their walls. So these guys come in and they drill these positions. They don't drill jiu-jitsu. They're drilling the control positions of defensive tactics or combatives. Okay. Then they do jiu-jitsu after, which kind of is funny because I just got like a message 2 weeks in a row from the point of contact at Honolulu PD. He's a black belt as well. And they're having some trouble getting buy-in, switching over from PPCT to like more of control tactics. And they got a lot of black belts in. They got a lot of solid black belts, good guys.
That's crazy that they...
Yeah.
Okay.
And we went in and he's like, because of the passion you guys teach with and the way you guys taught, he's like, I just did an email saying, hey, we're going to cover EFC control tactics and then follow with jiu-jitsu. He goes, we had 16 new people on the mat today and they all stayed and trained jiu-jitsu after.
That's called progress.
That's called progress. And he literally said like, thanks for like just the passion and bringing like this to it. And we talked a lot too of like, hey, how do you roll this out? And I said, listen, if you go try to teach guys jiu-jitsu off their back, you're not going to get any buy-in.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because we know one of the principles of adult learning is experience and need to know. Well, most cops have never been put on their back in police work. So now why am I teaching them that? They don't need to know that. But every cop has had trouble taking someone into custody on top. Let's work to figure out how people want to learn. We know that's by experience and we know that's need to know are two of the 6 principles of adult learning.
I think that Honolulu, I actually find it interesting that they have all those black belts and we're still doing PPCT.
Those guys are putting more stuff out, but they were, that they wanted to, but their academy was
still
PPCT.
Yeah.
And these guys pushed a lot to get us there because they're like, hey, we know. And they already know like that they're good. They're all very good guys.
Yeah.
And they're all very skilled,
Yeah.
But I think again, sometimes you need someone from the outside to come in and show people, because if it comes internally, well, this is just Chris or this is just so-and-so. Sure. Oh no, these guys are saying it. But again, the videos were buying.
Yeah. And I would assume that it's probably difficult for them, especially being in Hawaii, to get outside training to come in. They probably have to do a little more legwork, probably a little more budget constraints there.
Sure. Yeah. We nurtured that for a bit.
Sure.
But again, we went in, we built great relationships with those guys, and that'll be a relationship we continue to grow on and build. And that's what we try to do with every agency.
Yeah. I want to switch gears too a little bit, and I want to kind of talk about the social media side of things. I know it's your absolute favorite topic to talk about. I know you love social media so much, and I love talking about it with you, Jay.
Adam is relating to my editing skills, which is about on a 0 to 100 scale. My editing skills are around a 2.5.
Yeah, he has 2 stripes on his white belt.
Not even probably one.
Well, they're just because you show up.
Yeah, show up stripes.
Yeah. It's just because you scan the key card on the way in. We obviously put out a lot of content. We try to put out as much beneficial content as we can. Now, obviously, Social media, people have the attention span of a goldfish. You look at about 3 to 4 seconds before they either start to lose interest or they decide to comment or they don't read the copy, which is kind of a given. I would say that for the most part, 98% of what we post probably is positively accepted. I would say that most people that also follow us are following us for a reason. I would say that I don't mind having difficult conversations. What would you say, just from your perspective, like, well, what would you say is one of the biggest pushback points that you see, after we post something on EFC or your personal page? What would you say is it just lack of understanding and they just decide to comment, or what are your thoughts on that?
One, I think internally, which I mean by from people from the profession, is they can't get out of the mind as we've always done it that way.
Sure.
And you have to stay relevant. You have to get better. I just watched, and I won't mention any names, I don't like talking bad about anybody, but in public anyways, a guy who posted about modern martial arts versus like your old Aikido and those types of martial arts. Okay. Well, I've done so many joint locks to this guy. And so, listen, pain compliance fails. We know statistics already show that it fails 2/3 of the time. So if you want to be okay, it worked because it was unopposed, or the guy maybe was just actively resisting and felt pain. Okay. You're also 80 years old now, and there wasn't fentanyl out on the street. There wasn't meth out on the street where these are now painkillers. We have to learn how to control people. Okay. It's not modern. People mistake like modern combatives. Yeah, it's modern because we're tailoring it to being relevant to today's society. But like wrestling's been around forever. Like you got to go back way longer than any police agency, and they were still doing wrestling.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. It's the development and constant development of modernizing law enforcement to what is going on in society that is important. These guys don't see it, right? They just, I've always done it that way.
Yeah.
That's one answer I hate. The answer I think I hate worse than that comes from administration and the people that don't want to train is, well, we can't train like that because we get hurt. It's too dangerous. Okay. So then let's not train at all.
Yeah.
And then make it the time
sense.
that it's going to be dangerous. Your body's not conditioned to fighting. You don't know how to fight. And now you're going to go fight when it really matters on the street with someone that's probably bigger, stronger than you, or superhuman strength that you don't know how to control. And that's not dangerous.
Right.
Like, again, it comes down to common sense. Like, and I don't even know if they're have this much lack of common sense. I honestly think the biggest problem in police work is ego.
Oh yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm confident. I walk around like I'm confident. And I think to be competent and confident is what you need to be. You could be competent, and if you have no confidence, you're not going to be good. Sure. You could be confident and you have and you're not competent, you're not going to be very good. The two are like marriage, right?
Sure.
But ego, I just don't want to know how bad I am. Okay, well, continue to go to the range once a year, shoot 70 on paper, right? And then get in a gunfight, like when it happens. Or just hopefully you'll be lucky for 20 years.
Yeah.
But again, those are my two biggest issues with those types of things internally from the police force. Society, it's tough because they don't know. Okay, society just doesn't know. They have no idea. 99.9% of them have never been in those situations, could never fathom being in that situation, and they're just Monday morning quarterbacking it.
Of course.
That's just
the
what they do. So again, you can't put too much effort or lose too much sleep about it.
No, especially on social media. I mean, I had a guy comment on my YouTube channel about how he knows because he trains UFC.
Okay.
And I was like, right on. Like, keep training UFC. I don't know what that is, but I would assume it's
UFC is a brand, a title name.
Pretty sure Dana White's going to sue you now because you use his company in a comment. No, and again, is it worth my time to even fight with that guy, or not even fight, but even like have a conversation? Sometimes I will write one comment, state my point, because again, if someone else sees that, they may read it. So again, if the goal is to have beneficial discussion, I'll write a very respectful, somewhat lengthy comment, and then I'm done, and then I move on with my life. Or sometimes if they're being disrespectful, I just block them or delete them. Like it's really that simple. It's not really worth my time, and really not worth our time as well. And I think we're so mission driven at EFC that it's especially from a social media standpoint, like we spend a lot of time and energy making sure that it's right and it looks good. From your experience, Jay, from transferring from law enforcement kind of into the business world, what does that business journey look like for you? Do you feel I'll tell you my thoughts after you go, but I kind of want to know, like, where do you think, kind of being, hey, I'm an instructor, I'm a teacher, to now having to understand the business side of things. How's that journey for you?
Yeah. I mean, they're 2 full-time jobs, realistically.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So like, I feel like right now I'm like a blue belt in business. We're like building curriculum.
A little better than that, but yeah, go on.
Building curriculum, teaching, presenting the product, building the relationships. Like, that's my lane. But obviously being co-owner, I have to at least be competent on the business side. And that's just a work in progress. So again, that's something where like I have to work on. I have to understand that, and I have to put work in over there.
Yeah. Because
the other one now is just comes easy for me.
Did you think it was as we've grown, have you felt like was it overwhelming at first, or were you like, I just want to kind of learn from others? Because again, like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm an expert in business, but I had my foot in the door probably before you did. So it's just from that side of experience. But do you feel like you've learned at a pretty quick rate of how to kind of differentiate between the mat side to the business side? Because obviously the business side is important because it does lead to how we treat our instructors, how we network, how we respond with the agencies. Like, that's the one thing we get. I mean, they say our customer service is phenomenal. Like, how we can communicate with these agencies. Obviously, we contribute all that to our wives, right, Jay? All of that to our wives. But I'll say that. Do you think it's been as smooth of a process as you thought it would be?
Yes and no. I obviously, when you're running a company, a private company, the business side is going to be just as important as the other side.
Oh yeah.
I'm not as knowledgeable over there, so it's more difficult for me. And my passion is on one side and not the other. So that makes it more difficult. Sure. I understand, though, I have to learn that and be better there. And it's just a constant work in progress. Like, teaching, training is always going to be a work in progress also, because like once you're done learning, you should stop teaching. That's just Jay's opinion. But once you stop training, once you stop trying to get better, you should stop teaching and learning and teaching it and trying to pass it on. But like, I'm not there with that yet. Like, that is still my passion. I'm constantly looking to get better. I'm always playing with things. I'm picking guys' brains. I'm putting myself around people where I want to see this, on the business side, it's the same way, just in a smaller capacity, because I'm just over here. Like, I'm not learning any new skills, realistically. Maybe different setups, maybe a detail. It's much less to learn on this side than the business side, because the business side is just new. It's new to me.
Yeah.
I was a W-2 employee all my life.
Right.
Right.
It's a big difference.
So it's a big jump.
Yeah.
And people don't understand all of what goes into business. There's a lot that goes into business. Most small businesses fold after 5 years. Yeah. Most small businesses that open up are done after 5 years, right? So like, the most important part where you have to put the most amount of work in is in those 5 years is what I truly believe, like, especially in some of the research that I've done. So like, people are like, how do you do it? And it's like, the vision is what's past 5 years. Yeah. Like, I got to put in all the work now to get this set up so that in 5 years, stepping back a little bit from the training side, and I'll always get dirty. I'll never not teach or be in person classes or be at conferences. Now, my goal isn't to be there all week long. Okay. It's not to be in classes 4 weeks in a row, or like January 5th until last week. I taught every week, every single week. Right.
Oh, yeah.
As an owner, like I taught every single week, and my job in my head is to put the time in for that 0 to 5 years, because that's where it's most beneficial for a company to fail, is in that 0 to 5 years. Yeah. So I'm trying to put in the hard work there as I'm learning this side. So it's like double duty, but knowing hopefully in 5 years that we're got everything in place to where, like, now maybe if it's like, you know, I'm putting 100% over here and 25% over here, then I can put 50% over here and 70% over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, I appreciate that. And two, you know, kudos to you. I know some people, you know, they see Jay on social media, and I'll say this for him because he probably won't say it himself, but I'm pretty sure you traveled like 40 to 42 weeks last year.
I did 42 courses last year.
42 courses, 52 weeks in a year means you were home for 10 weeks. So, you know, some people will comment within like the training space about this, that, and the other. And I don't know anybody else that's traveling themselves 42 weeks a year. And that just goes to show your passion towards the law enforcement profession. And two, to kind of piggyback off of that, you know, you and I chatted before even getting to business with each other. Like we chatted a while. Cause I know it was kind of scary because you kind of had something lined up already after you left law enforcement. You're like, hey, I know what I'm going to make. I know this, that, and the other. I know this is my plan. And I was like, yo, just think about it. And I think you made the right decision. I think, you know, you made the right decision too. And I think that's also kind of a testament to the risk that you were willing to take after a 22-year career of being a W-2 employee. It's not an easy jump to go from the security of having a pay, you know, you're getting paid every 2 weeks or every month or however you got paid, to not knowing to not knowing if this is going to work or not. Like, and then you moved your whole family to Florida. Like there was a lot of risk taken there. Probably because Amanda didn't want to move to Vegas.
That might have helped you.
Yeah, that might have helped there too. You know, but again, I think that's a testament to your business decision making skills. Again, I like, as someone who's you know, also took a risk as well. I think that we did a phenomenal job of picking the right people, because he's talked about surrounding yourself with the right people. Because there's things that I'm not good at that you're good at. There's things that we both suck at that
Sure.
Dan and Even good at, or Nick at, and Matt and the whole team. Like, and I think just like you said, like we have selected the best people that care about cops, that truly want the best out there, and that really want to change the standard of policing. Like I don't know, you know, we say it all the time, we're a mission-driven company. Like we hire and fire based on the mission. We've had guys that want to be instructors for us that may be super qualified on paper, black belt, Pan Ams, SWAT team. And you're just like, they just not there.
Not a good fit.
Just not a good fit. And it's nothing against them,
right?
But it's like, you're just not a good fit. And that's how selective we are. And again, I'm very grateful for everything you've put in, the work you've put into EFC. I mean, I'm kind of glad, that we had to move some courses around so that you're here for the past couple of days, because I basically get private jiu-jitsu with Jay for for a day, which is a gift for me. He charges me extra though. So, but Jay, I always want to kind of conclude it with, if you have one thing to say, like your mission statement, it can be about life, policing, fatherhood, whatever it is. What is the one thing you want to leave the people with?
I think no matter what comes at you in life, like I don't stress out about hardly anything. Very, very rarely do I stress out about anything. And I look at life as like, it's going to throw you curveballs, it's going to throw you fastballs, and it's going to throw you lobbed up softball pitches.
Sure.
Okay. But I got to move forward on all of them. If you're just standing in the batter's box and you're not swinging the bat and you're worried about what could have been and you don't take the chance or you don't go correct it or this guy did me wrong or I shouldn't be in this position, one foot in front of the other. It's always moving forward as far as life, not as tactics, because there's times to retreat in tactics, but always going forward. Like, hey, I'm gonna be better. The glass is half full. That's what I tell my kids every day when they get out of the car for school. If I take them to school, when I'm home, I'll say, is the glass half full or half empty? And the answer better be it's half full. It's the same glass. Okay, but how do you look at life? If not, it's on the phone. Have a great day at school. Love you guys. Be confident. Okay, be confident in yourselves. Is the glass half full or empty? The glass should always be half full, no matter what. If it's half empty, your mindset's already setting you up for failure. So it's always half full.
I love that. Jay, until next time, let's go. We're going to grab some food, and then we're going to go train.